The next section is quite a big one, and it's about recording, monitoring and evaluating performance development. The first section that we're going to look at in this one, and it's split into 5 different sections, is the purpose and value of recording, monitoring and evaluating performance development. So for recording, the method that we use to record our data or information is the training diary, and remember that we did this every single session. At the end of every session, So for recording, the method that we use to record our data or information is the training diary, and remember that we did this every single session. At the end of every session, we need to know what the benefits and limitations of using that training diary are, and you can find that information on the PowerPoints in your OneDrive. In terms of monitoring, we used 2 different methods. We had feedback as well as our training diary. By using these 2 methods, we are able to make changes and adapt our training sessions to make sure that we continue to make progress. And for that, you will need to know the principles of effective practice and the principles of training, which you can find more information on in another video. When being asked about monitoring, you might be asked to explain, so give the point, cause and effect of why we monitor. On your OneDrive, there are 4 reasons why that are fully there, and they all access a mark each. The last one to think about is evaluate. That's something that we do at the end of the performance development process. Okay, and for that, the method that we use to evaluate is to retest using the same method of collecting data that we did at the very beginning, that we helped identify our strengths and weaknesses from. Again, similar to monitoring, you have to know why. What is the importance of doing this? What's the importance of this step in the process? There are 3 reasons why we evaluate, and again, they're on the OneDrive on the PowerPoint. For retesting, that method that we use to evaluate, you have to think about what are the benefits and limitations, and you have to be able to describe the method. One of the methods that we used to retest was the performance profile. Remember, you can use the performance profile when you're talking about any of the 4 factors. Okay. The second section of this is about recording and monitoring methods, tools or tests. So for this, we have to think about how appropriate they are for recording and monitoring, and for that, similar to the appropriateness of the methods we use to gather data, we are thinking about PAR-VM. Okay, so that acronym that tells us how appropriate things are for what we need them for. Remember that for recording information, we use the training diary, and monitoring, we use feedback and the training diary. And it's really important that you remember that by doing this process, so by recording and by monitoring, we are able to make informed changes and adapt our training sessions to make sure that we continue to make improvements. In this next section, we are thinking about adapting our performance development process, our performance development plan, and for this we think about the goals that we've set for ourselves. for each of our sessions. So we have to think about when to make those adaptations and how we adapt them. So in terms of our goals, if we have achieved them faster than we planned, or if we have achieved them in the set amount of time, then we would reprioritise. We would set ourselves brand new goals to make sure that we're continuing to improve. However, if we have not met those goals, then we're going to be looking to extend our plan, but we're going to keep the goals exactly the same. So if we achieve the goals faster than we expected, we reprioritise to new ones. If it's all gone to plan, and we've reached our goals within the set amount of time that we gave ourselves at the beginning, then we would reprioritise and set a new goal. If we don't meet the goals, then we extend the plan, so make the training programme longer, but we keep the goals the exact same for ourselves to make sure that we meet them eventually. We also have to think about what things that we can change. So that would include your training partner, the frequency, intensity, or the length of time that you train for. You could change the approach that you use, and that would be dependent on the stage of learning that you're at. Remember that there are 3 different stages of learning and approaches that link in with each one of them. You could change the location to make sure that it's much more suitable to allow you to do approaches that are much more suitable to your overall performance. You could adapt to your goals. You could add in or take away opposition to your training, or you could change the number of teammates that you use when you are training. These are just some of the examples that you could use when you're adapting your plans to make sure that you continuously work towards improving your performance, and so that you don't hit a plateau. Part 4 of this section of the mandatory information is about the evaluation of your performance development plan. So at the very end, we need to think about how effective that plan was. So we evaluate what was good about it, what wasn't so good about it, what would we change for next time. So evaluation is done at the end, and that for us, our method was retesting. So we were comparing our initial test from the very beginning to our last test at the end of the training programme. And if you look at the YouTube video that we went through a few weeks ago, it's on Show My Homework for you. That will give you a full explanation of everything you can talk about when you're evaluating your performance development plan. The structure for this question is to identify, to give a value, and then give the judgment. So identifying if something within our training programme was good or if it was bad. Giving the value, so what did it increase or decrease, or what did it keep the same? And then finally adding the judgment, what was the effect of this? So some examples of things that you might identify from your performance development plan might be about the area. So is the area good or bad? Was your partner, your pace, the pace that you worked at, the equipment and the difficulty that you set for yourself, were they good or were they bad? The value might be that it increased, decreased or maintained motivation, boredom, fatigue, focus or injury. So you've got to link the 2 of them together. So was the partner that you used good? If it was, did that help to maintain or increase the motivation that you had? And then you tell us the effect of this. So did it cause you to work just as hard, or did it stop you from working as hard? Did it make you too tired to work? And therefore you made no improvement? Did that partner that you had cause you to lose focus and therefore not work to the best of your ability? Or was the difficulty that you set for yourself, was that poor and it caused you to become more bored and therefore not challenged enough, so you don't make that improvement? The last section of this is about whether or not we extend or reprioritise the focus of our PDP. So that's us thinking about, now that we've completed that personal development programme, what do we do next? So for this, we need to analyse the data that we have collected at the very end. What did we improve? What did we not improve? Where are we going to look towards next? So things that you need for the exam is you need to have identified 2 future development needs for each of the 4 factors that we've done. So have a look at the data that you've collected. Now that you've achieved in improving your weakness, what are you going to work on next? You need to be able to give the evidence why. So what does it look like in your performance? What is the negative impact that these areas of development are currently having on your performance? You then have to be able to explain why improving these would make your performance better. So if you do improve these, what is your performance going to look like? So make sure that for future development planning, you know what your development needs are for each of the 4 factors. So 2 for mental, 2 for emotional, 2 for social, and 2 for physical. And make sure that you can talk about these in relation to your performance and the activity that you've identified.